Hi, good afternoon, Jo here at woollycottage.com. How are we all? Yes, 2 chats in 2 weeks, but I did put a video up last week, so that lets me off. Right, so we'll just hang around for a little bit. Whew. I'm shattered. Busy bee today. Been out in the garden because it's not raining, though it's threatening to. I had 15 wheel, not 15, 10 wheelbarrows. I had to think then. 10 wheelbarrows full of shillies that are moving from one side of the garden to the other side and lifting up membrane in the garden so I could put grass seed down and stepping stones. So yeah, so we'll just hang around for a little bit, see if anyone turns up before I decide what topic to go into first. So what we've been up to. Oh, I put a video up last week. Hi Liz. I put a video up last week. I don't know if anyone caught it yet. And it was showing you how I put it together, which was a bit of a faff and a do, but I got there in the end. Where is it when you want it? It's around here somewhere. Here she goes again. It's because it's flat, you see. Now she's lost it. No. It's right behind her. It's behind you. Yeah, it was behind me. It's a flat pack. That's why I can hide it behind. Int car coming back from Marks and Spencer's. All right, Bridie. Thankfully, I'm aware that you don't drive, so you're not breaking any laws by typing. Got your haircut. Had my haircut done before I went to Edinburgh. It's looking a bit of a mess. I've been outside. It's all sweaty. I've been in the garden. I put some pictures up on my stories on Instagram. So I've just moved about 8-10 wheelbarrows full of shillies, lifted up all the rotten scaffolding planks that were suppressing some soil down the side of my compost bin. I have been putting pictures up over the last week what I've been up to. So yeah, so I've been doing that this morning because it's not forecast rain, but it's threatening to rain, which is just flaming typical. So I've got a sweaty head. I mean, literally just done a mad dash into town at quarter to 12. Because I just got that done. We put the picnic bench back over onto the area that I'd cleared and I wanted to shilly up, because underneath it is old sheep's fleece. So it's done the job of suppressing the weeds. So the only weeds and grasses that were growing from on top of the old rotten scaffolding planks. And I found a slow worm. So Mr. Slowworm, hiya Sandra. It's just started raining here, big fat drops. Yeah, we keep getting big fat drops, but I've told Met Office on my app that you predicted cloudy, not rain. We've had rain. We've had rain for 2 weeks with another week forecast. Yeah, well, it's been one of the wettest springs that I've had in a while. Hiya, Mary love. How you doing, sweetie? I haven't seen you around for a while. So yeah, I was putting together my inkle loom last week. It's heavy. It's heavier than an Ashford's, but it's made from birchwood. So on Dale's looms, his legs move underneath so that you can stick it down the side of your sofa, push your legs in, stick it down the side of your sofa while you work on it. So yeah, there we go. So I'm putting that together. So that's what the video is going to be next week. But what I'm going to do is get my inklet loom out, which I thought might be easier, and just show you how to warp up an inklet loom. And then this one will go on to using tablet weaving cards, and I'll show you how to warp them up and do those bits and pieces. I just want a bit of a change because there's more to woolcrafts than just spinning. And now that I've got my shillies moved and my picnic bench and needs another coat of paint, it means I'll be able to get this big so-and-so out. It goes on forever. My peg loom, and get some peg loom weaving done, and show you how to get started on that, because there's not a lot of videos online for that sort of thing. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. So I'm knackered. My back's broken. Stranger Things. I've been rewatching Stranger Things in the evening again. I love that programme. I love it, and I've had it on my Spotify and my soundtrack as well. So I've been listening to that out in the garden, annoying the next door neighbour. Maybe, probably. I don't really care. I've had enough now. 3 years I've not been able to get out in my garden. Right, so I put new listings up on Monday if anybody wants to go and have a look. All the sales and deals were all done last week. So there won't be any more for a while, but there will be a virtual market I'll do on my Instagram early summer. I think it'll be about June, July, round about that time. I might even time it for when the next door neighbours get the new fence put up, so I don't have to complain about not being able to get in my garden again. So what I've been doing, I've been knitting. A little bit of a different topic. I'm not getting my blended boards or anything out today. I've been doing this pattern. It drove me potty. I've done it twice now. I did it on some wool that I got when I was up at Edinburgh the other week. And it's a pattern called the Tramara. Let me just try to find... You never find a picture when you want one. It's this. It's called the Tramara, and it's by Audrey Borrego Designs. And it's that. So there's 4 different knitting styles on there. This bit here has been really quite nice to do, because once you start on, I'll put it up forward so you can see it. So there's lots of lines, stripes and uprights, but what it actually does is creating you're excited about the inkle loom videos. Oh, brilliant. Thank you, Mary. I'm always a little bit dubious, because I think for me, I've been doing this for 4 years now on YouTube, and it's all covers, I think, nearly every topic that I can imagine. There's probably a bit more, but nearly every single topic I can imagine about spinning. So I do think it's about time I sort of maybe delve down into other things that I do behind the scenes. So yes, so I'm doing that knitting pattern. Got it off Ravelry, as you do. And because I can't finish off my jumper because World of Wool have aren't selling worsted merino anymore, so I'm going to have to unravel my jumper and start all over again. There's somebody who's to blame for this, but I'm not going to mention any names. Sandra. So, she's like, you little bugger. She's like, you little bugger. So I've got that far. So I'm using the same wool that I was using for inside my my jumper that I was doing, my stripes jumper, and that's how far I've got. So I did it on some other wool, and I just couldn't see when it was. Then she goes, "Oh, don't look." So I'm using this wool that I got at Christmas from Boscastle Yarns, and I'm using, oh, it's downstairs. This is one of my own, and there's another colour. It's downstairs, which is like darker blues, like rooster colours. So that's what I'm doing with this. So it's actually it's simple enough once you get going, you find your rhythm. But this bit, the front, the pattern work, look at that. How magic's that? It's all hidden. There's no stranded work at all. Flaming magic. It's magic. So yeah, so I'm really quite chuffed with how that's coming out. So I've been sat there knitting away. I did a couple of rows last night in bed, but you get to that point you can feel it in your elbows and your knitting's up at your face. So like, yeah, I'll put that away. I'll go and watch somebody getting killed by gormagons on Stranger Things instead. More entertaining. So yeah, this pattern is called the Tramea, Tramea. And she says you can do it in, she says you need at least 3 different coloured wools. So whether you go for a natural and 2 coloured wools, you can quite easily do it. So I'm quite happy. I'm quite enjoying how it's turning out. Definitely think I'll do another one. But there's like, I'm able to, because I'm a novice knitter, and I've only been knitting for, what, 4 years, just over, nearly 4.5 years now. Just before COVID, I taught myself how to knit. And every time I do a pattern, I try and push myself a little bit more. So with this one, you've got, it's stocking stitch. So you use the same colour for 2 rows, so back and forth. And then in between, you've got the garter stitch as well. So you end up with these grooves, like a texture all the way along. It's really, really nice. There's a graph in it, and I was following the graph, and it didn't make no sense to me. She tried to say that it was a mirror image. And I'm folding it, trying to get the pattern to work. And whenever you folded it, so you've got that there. There's the pattern. But if you folded it with the other piece, because that's from 25 to 40, and it doesn't show that you have to actually, excuse my dirty nails, it's the sign of a hard-working woman. And it doesn't show on this end that I had to actually knit 3 stitches, then double yarn over, and then knit or purl the next stitch along. And it didn't show that, but it does show it on 1/2. So I end up like, oh, I'm going to have to do something about this. I couldn't figure it out. So I put that wool down that I was doing it with originally, and I went off and just did it with this, just as like a swatch, just to see how it would go along. And as it twigged, I used the written chart instead of the graph chart. Now, the graph chart's my go-to. It's what I always go to. I find them really easy to use, but that's because I usually buy my patterns from Sidney's Spin It. But these ones, yeah, no, not working. It's not working. So I end up, thankfully, she's got the actual written chart, and I'm finding that a lot easier to work with, to the point I'm not really reading it that much now. Just double checking that it's going to be the same for X amount of rows before I look again. So, yeah. So that's what I've been doing in the evenings. Well, afternoon. Yesterday, I sat and knitted for about 4.5 hours in front of the fire, blanket on my legs. I was done in yesterday. Right, so yesterday morning, before I crashed and burned in front of the fire, I did some dyeing. Now, if anybody watched my Instagram live chat on Saturday, Sandra Sanderson's here, but you can go and find her over on Facebook as Black Isle Woolens. Okay, she's a knitwear designer. Oh, I saw that. Glad says. She's a knitwear designer, and we've been putting loggerheads. She came to, we started talking and everything else just before November, October, November. She found me via here, and we got to talking, and before we knew it, we're hitting it off like nobody's business. And she suggested about us doing a collaboration. She actually, we ended up doing a live chat, like Instagram video call, and just after Christmas, just after New Year. And we hit it off like nobody's business. Well, I like to think so. I think really she's just using me. She's using me for my youthful behaviour. Anyway, she messaged me, and no, we were talking, and she says, what do you think of this pattern? So she was showing me the one that she's going to release in September for us to do as a collaboration. I said, that's really, really nice. And that's when she brought the subject about maybe doing a collab where she designs, where she's got loads and loads of designs, but she translates it into normal English from her knitwear Russian into patterns, and she printed it up, but we would do it so that I would have hand-dyed yarn as an option. Sandra, how very dare you? We do get on like a house on fire. Yeah, we do. I'm just trying to bring her back down a couple of notches from nearly pension age, you see, so I'm keeping her on her toes. Oh, she's going to kill me. She's going to kill me. Oh, I'm so naughty. Right, so this is what she's come up with. So long story short, she said, I'll come up with some patterns, and I says, well, why don't we do it as a seasonal thing? Because I'm stopping doing my batty clubs because I'm not feeling the fun and the love in it. So we've decided these will get released roughly 3 a year. Well, it'll be 3 a year this year anyway. So there's this one. There's winter berries to come in September. And then there'll be another one released just before Christmas. So you've got time to knit it up as gifts or whatever. Anyway, this is called A Walk Around the Loch. Hopefully, well, I'll get the scarves in a minute if you haven't seen them. But there you go. So this is the pattern. It's printed out. And this is what you get with your kit. So this one is designed on doing hand-dyed yarn, and I'll talk you through that in a minute. And this one is a gradient that's been designed in the sense of hand-spun wool. Okay, this one was done from, she picked apart a roving that she bought from me. She would have definitely had to split it into several sections to get all the same colours together, because I remember distinctly the roving that she bought, and it wasn't done in solid colours like what I'm about to show you. And the actual striping one, Joe, get the things. Hold a minute. The stripy one is done. Hold a minute. They're there. So this was done with it was the only wool that I had in stock at the time, because I was saving it for my project, and then she told me about this. I said, well, hold on a minute, I've got wool. We'll use what I've put aside for myself for some projects. And it's a worsted merino this one's done on. Now I've got Falkland wool in for it. It arrived yesterday, so I've got to start winding up from the comb. So it's a nice decent weight one that will definitely see you through autumn, winter and in early spring. And it's really, really pretty. So I moved my coffee. It's got this cable all the way as an edge. And as Sandra explained it, I've not had a look through the pattern yet because apparently there's another copy on the way. So you've got this cable that follows all the way up. So you knit your cable, okay? And then once you've done that, you then attach on the different colours. So we're sticking with this colour, but there'll be another option. So you've got this blue, and then it goes back to this brown that's used here. Then a lighter blue, and then there's a pistachio green, and then a brown, and then a fawn. So it stripes all the way up. We have got an alternative, which I'll show you because I've done it as a roving. So this is the actual yarn set. You get 150 grams is the main colour that goes all the way around. She said this roughly takes about 30 grams of wool to do the stripe inserts all the way through. But it's easy for me just to do 50-gram balls, and then if you want to make it a little bit larger, then you can do, because all you have to do is just extend it on here if you've got enough wool left over. That's down to you. But you've got options. So there, it's in a kite style. Pity I'm not 6 foot tall, but I'm only 5'4", so you have to bear with me. And then it goes all the way. So it's a knit, is it 36 stitches or something you cast on to start with? Knit the cables all the way up. Then when you get so far, and I think she said then you start to add the striper section on to the actual cable section. And then once you've done that, you knit, or you knit your ribbon. Hey! All I can hear is the dog licking itself. So yeah, so there's that. So let me just put it away properly. It's got Angelina on it. I don't know how it's managed to get Angelina on it. It's been nowhere near that corner. It's this room you breathe it in. The Angelina on my chips the other night. Honestly, so that's the yarn version. And she said it was the other day when we were talking about it, because I managed to harangue her into you start with 5 stitches and then increase every right side row. Yeah, there we go. But the pattern, she's done it all. It's brilliant. As I say, an amendment she's needed to do, so that's on its way down in the post, unless the dog ate it this morning. So this is the hand spun option. It's exact. I mean, I was completely puzzled because she brought these up when I was at Edinburgh, because Sandra came down to help me. Thank God she did, because I'd have been apoplectic. But I didn't realise it was hanging on a coat stand, and we had 2 hangers on. We had them both over there, and it didn't dawn on me that they're exactly the same pattern. So you know, like you've got the stripes on that. It's a slight texture to it. Well, that's got the exact same stripes in the exact same place with the exact same ribbon, chunky ribbon down the bottom, and the cable all the way up. But I didn't notice because the way that she's prepped the roving and a gradient all the way along. Flaming genius, honestly. And I didn't just like, is that the same? Which is like, yeah. And I just didn't, it didn't register in my little pretty brain that was what was going on. So there you go. So this is the hand spun option, and I think it's about 10 inches short. They are both knit exactly the same way. And do we have to pick up stitches after doing the cable, girls? Sandra's the one to ask. I don't know, because I haven't knitted it yet. I've got to spin my wool up. So on that, now the other day there we were talking about, me and Sandra were talking about last week, I think it was Thursday, about colour ideas. So I mean, to be fair, it's something we hadn't even approached on. So that scarf there, we're going to keep with that as one option for the yarns, and they're going to be done as pre-dyed, as a pre-order. So it gives me a week to get them all dyed up, or get the orders dyed up and shipped out and dried and everything else, because I don't want to dye, as you can imagine, I'm only a little tiny small batch dyer. I don't want to dye this colour range and then find out that people want the other one instead, and then I'm left with, so it just makes more sense stock wise to dye up as the orders come in. So there will be a hold for a couple of days. I've got to wind the wool up yet, so that's what I'm going to be doing the next couple of days. But what we've come up with now, this is the one I did yesterday. So this is more or less going to be the colour separate option of this one, okay, of this knitted stripe one, but it's going to be an option for the hand spun one as well. This is mine. This is Tussah silk, merino and flax. It's my favourite wool, and I haven't treated myself to any wool for ages, but this is the one I've got, and it's supposed to, it's a storm grey or like a really, really dark midnight blue. And then it goes a little bit lighter, though it's supposed to be grey. Sandra says, no picking up stitches, just increasing and working the cables into the extra stitches. Once all cables are knitted, the increases start including in the stripes. There we go. So I've done that. 250 grams is what you're getting with the wool for the hand spun option in the gradient. And I've done them as colour blockings to make your life a little bit easier, because when the one that Sandra, the roving that Sandra used was multicoloured. So there were sections, decent sections, but what she ended up doing was splitting them up and dividing all the colours out and then spinning them off as she went along. Whereas I've made that job a little bit easier. What you probably want to do is split your roving in half up this end. So you've got the colour gradient going into this gorgeous Moorside Heathland mauvey colour. And then it goes into lichen, and then in this straw colour, like ladies' bed straw. That sort of yellow. Really, really nice, and it looks gorgeous. And I thought, well, that will look fantastic starting off as your ribbon section, like down the bottom of the gradient. Thank you, Bridie. Well, this is going to be the same colourway, if Sandra agrees, because she's not seen these ones yet. Because we were talking about it yesterday, and I was like, oh, that's not going to work. And the grey ended up coming out blue. But I'm quite pleased with that, because originally I wanted the blue for the second option. So the blue where the brown is going to be a darker blue. So we'll go with that one. It's actually grey, but it's like a moody storm grey. And then it goes into this lighter version blue, which is actually called twilight grey. And it's not. It's got blue undertones. So that's what it came out with. So it goes in from these blues. You like it with the blue shades. I actually thought it made it feel more authentic. I thought I would have been happy if it had been like a granite grey, but then I thought it looks like the blue tones that you get in the granite stone in the mountains. You get that blue tinge off it. So Sandra, I don't know, I mean, you saying you love it, I think it's turned out really, really well. So those are the colours that we're going to have for the second option. You like the rovings, you like the colours on the roving. Yeah, so this is what's going to be the options for both the roving version for the hand spun shawl in your kit. No, it's more natural. Yeah, exactly, like it's just been picked up out the environment. And then, but it's going to also be the second option for the hand dyed yarns that I'll be doing for that kit. Okay, so that was the first option. Now, this is where it got a little bit mucky in my dye trays yesterday, because I wasn't happy, because we were on about last week that we would go purple, 2 shades of purples into greens and then into a teal, and I wasn't happy with the teal. It just looked in your face. So I ended up over dyeing the teal in this green yesterday. So this is the other option we were thinking about. So you've got that, so it goes into this electric violet-y sort of colour, then into this mid-range. It's actually darker, but my lights are all on because it's overcast outside. So it goes into that one. Then you've got this mossy green, lichen green, and then you've got this forest green. I mean, it's nice. I'm just not one for green and purple. So when I saw the teal yesterday, I'm like, yeah, I'm not happy with that. So I end up over dyeing it, and it actually went with a picture that I'd been looking at. I mean, it's pretty, don't get me wrong, and I can imagine me using it if I was going to use it as a, oh, Victoria likes that. I was going to use this, I would use this colourway in an art bat anyway. But for me, personally, I like that option. This is more me rather than this one. If I put that on as a shawl, I'd lose myself in my room, to be fair. But, I mean, it's nice. it's just not for me, but everyone's got their own taste. So there was that option, right? So it goes into this mauvey purpley, forget-me-not purple colour, this really dark grape purple, and then the different shades of greens into that darker green. I'll put the pictures up on Instagram later on for the colour options that sort of inspired us yesterday when we slightly got a bit stuck. But this is the one that I really liked, especially after doing it yesterday, and it was based on clumps of heather in granite. So you've got these, that really rich heather colours that go in, you know, the proper dark mountain heather, not just the more the summer heather rather than the purpley heather. We get so many different colours here in the UK, but that's what I've ended up coming out with. You've got this mottled tone of lilac, then it goes into this creamy sandy colour, then into the moss, then it goes into a fade into that heather purple colour. And I thought this was really nice. I quite liked this one. I thought this one would make a really good option for the hand spun one. Bridie likes that one. So I'm thinking we may go for, me personally, this one, because there's a lot of purple going on. So if we go for this one as the, I don't know, I mean, let me know, you guys vote, that one and that one as the options for your hand dyed roving. We're only doing 2 options, but I thought that one was really a lot more summery, and then that one gives you your autumnal sort of more natural sort of look. This one is the other option. This is going up to Sandra wants to steam it anyway. This is hers, so she can do spinning and get another shawl done for herself, because one of those shawls has already been spoken for and is getting collected later in the year once I take it up. So we've got that version. That's going up to Sandra for definite anyway, but you've got that option if you wanted me to do it as a roving. You've got that option to do as a roving. There's only going to be 2 options, and that one. I think that one for definite, so you've got to choose between these ones. But I'm thinking the more summer heather rather than the darker mountain. Elizabeth likes the autumn colours. Yeah, I do, but we need to pick from these ones. So we've got the dark green into the different shades of greens into the purples, which is pretty in itself, or you've got the summer clumps of heather on the bracken, which is what I think. Yeah, the summer heather, that's what I'm thinking. I think, what does Sandra think? Sandra's there. She is hiding in the background. She goes, oh, don't make me choose, Joe. I'm not making you choose. You're getting this one regardless. So, yeah, that's what we've got to do. So, with the hand spun option, you're getting 250 grams. She did that shawl there with a merino silk blend of mine. And she did it in just over about 210. So, we're doing 250 grams in a blended wool. I have got Merino Tussah silk. Limited supply at the moment, but as orders come in, I can order more. The summer heather is gorgeous, but they've all turned out great. Well, that one's yours anyway. A grapey one. You've got the grapes. You've got the brambles. Phil says heather, but summer heather. See? I suppose he can have an opinion because he's the one that's going to have to put up with me dyeing it all over the place. So I have got bamboo merino in roving. I've got bamboo tencel in roving, which will be the same price, but then there is Merino Tussah silk that I have as well for doing the rovings. That will be a little bit more expensive than the other 2. Yeah, so that's what you've got, 250 grams of roving, plus you get with it your fully printed pattern that goes with it, and that will be coming out with the kit, okay? Fully printed already, so you'll get your roving, all hand dyed, 250 grams, plus you'll get your pattern, and it has both of those in there to suggest that you can actually knit them both. So you're really getting a 2-in-1. A bit of rope for that bit of rope just in the eye line looks like a noose. Oh, that, it's not rope, it's hand spun yarn. It's what I use with parts of, you know, this room is a nightmare at the moment. There you go, it's out the way. Sandra, I hope you're working hard. No, she's not. She's sat here watching me. She should be knitting. So yeah, that's what you're getting. With the hand-dyed yarn option, you're getting 350 grams of wool. You're getting 150 grams of the solid colour, the main colour, the brown on here, or the blue option, which will be in these colours. And then you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4 colours in 50 grams. So that's what you're getting with that one. So that's going to be 2 different price ranges, okay? I have already created a page for them on the top of the list on the website now. When you go to the pages, I haven't put them on there yet. I've just got to mess around with the pricing and everything else. I would appreciate it if no one puts on the discount codes. Because, yeah. If you do, you do. But I'd appreciate it if you didn't. New subscriber, hello from Liverpool. LGBT, oh no, don't start that carrying on. Phil, you know what to do, love. Sandra, always working away hard, Phil. I'm grafting Fair Isle headbands, or she's still doing those. What needle sizes? Okay, that I can answer for you. Hold on a second. Needles, 4mm circular needles. It's 100 centimeters length cable. Yeah, 100 centimeters length for a cable. You want your needle, tapestry needle to sew in your ends. So 4mm needles. What's that in American? Is that 5.5? Do you know what? Have I got my needle set up here? No, I don't know what it is. Me too when I said hi guys. What needle size? Yeah, so it's a 4mm. That's in UK MMs. I don't know what it is in American terminology. I do always the same, isn't it? You've never got a needle up here, but I think you guys count that as either a 5 or a 5.5. I will double check, or just do a translator on Google. Google will be able to tell you what it is. Colourwork shawl, hand dyed 4-ply merino from Woolly Cottage, 150 grams of main colour, and then 4 contrasting colours of 50 grams, she says. Your gradient shawl for the roving is 200 grams or just over for hand dyed. Now we went with that 250 for anyone that spins like me, and you end up with the little bits of fat bits and you can't get a consistent 4-ply yarn, because that's what she spun that one in, that shawl there. She spun it in a 4-ply. So I thought, well, if I add in an extra 50 grams, then that gives you, it's a 6 US. There you go, Fiona. Thank you, sweetie. There you go, Victoria. It's a number 6 US. Yeah, so she's done that as a 4-ply. Even I would struggle to consistently spin a 4-ply yarn. So I'm adding an extra 50 grams onto there to make sure that you've got enough to be able to do it. But there's nothing to stop you from maybe at home getting your drum carders out and making a little bit more if you feel you really will do. But it is based on a 4-ply yarn for these patterns. She's just said, the description said, this is a large asymmetrical triangular shawl starting at the tip of one corner and increasing on one side every right side row. The pattern includes cables and colour work, unless you choose to do the gradient version, in which case the colour of the yarn will change itself. The gradient version comes in a slightly smaller due to using less yarn, but it's still big enough to wrap around to keep you cosy. The colour work shawl uses a main colour and 4 contrasting colours, and keeping the cable section in the main colour, which is that brown on there, or the bluey grey dark colour. No, 4-ply yarn, Victoria, or what you would call sports weight. Yeah, a 4-ply, or you'd get away with a sports weight, or a sock yarn is probably the best translation, not a DK. DK would be too chunky. Though that's not to say that you couldn't, once you've done the pattern before, adjust your measurements and everything else for doing a DK in the future if you wanted to. I find it hard to spin a I get an in-between between a 4-ply or a sports weight and a DK. I can't quite get that one down, but I just don't get enough practice these days. The colour workshop uses the main colour and 4 contrasting colours, keeping the cable section in the main colour. The contrasting colours are used alternately with the main colour in a 4-row pattern. So you've got that's the contrasting one there with the hand-dyed yarn. So on that one you've got the brown, then it goes light blue, denim blue, pistachio and a sand colour. But my idea is also for the alternative version is to do this grassy yellow colour, which it makes me think of ladies' bed straw. And then you've got the grass colour, then you're going to have the mauve colour, and then there'll be the darker, like probably I'll try and get it more of a grey blue than a blue grey for the 4th colour, and then your main colour is going to be this, which is a really dark midnighty type blue. So yeah, I mostly spin DK to light worsted. I'm exactly the same, Victoria. That's why I thought adding an extra 50 grams of wool should allow for that spin difference for us fat spinners. Not that we're fat, we're just fat spinners. We can't get it all the way there. We're nearly there, but it's not quite there yet. And drafting plays a big part of it as well. Drafting out your fibres really does help bring down your wool. So I mean, if you split this length in half, the 250 grams, and give yourself a 125 gram roving, then split, you want to really, when you get your roving, take off your chunk of colour. So take off your green and spin all of that on your bobbin, okay? Well, actually split it, you've got 2 ends. So if you both your bobbins. So split your greens off. You could really, because I mean, majority of us, I've got a 100 gram bobbin, but for me to be able to get a 100 gram bobbin full of ply for 250 grams is not going to work. You always pre-draft to get a finer yarn. Yeah, I always do. And steaming your wool as well helps with roving. Give it a steam beforehand. Leave it for 20 minutes to evaporate, or the moisture and everything. And then you'll find that it's actually easier to draft out as well. For me, if I was going to spin this off onto 2 bobbins so I could ply them together, I would take off that chunk of both of those, right, and split that roving in half, the 125 grams, and spin off this filled chunk, and then this chunk, and then this chunk, and then you'll end up with your gradient that you really need to get. You could split them down the middle and do fractal spins and all the rest of it. That's completely up to you, how you spin it. This is just her interpretation of like the colourways. You may want to spin it all in one colour. Who knows? You may want to use half of this and spin it up with a solid colour, especially if you've got a green, or if you've got more like a mauve wool at home that you want to spin it off, or even with a darker blue. So you've just got these pops of colours coming out. Totally up to you what you do. This is just suggestion. These are the colours I've come up with. You'll get the patterns that come with them both, but once they're sold, Sandra's given me 20, so it's limited stock only. Once they've got them dyed up, they'll get posted out with your patterns. Then you can contact Sandra for the pattern to buy it on its own afterwards if you don't want to buy the set. And then eventually she's going to get it onto Ravelry, and she's going to start releasing the patterns on there as time goes on over the next year or so. You're hoping for, aren't you, Sandra? Because she's got loads of them. She's got loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of them. So yeah, that's the colour option. So I think we're going with the Summer Heather and this one. And that means I just have to worry about this for dyeing up the yarns, and then, yeah, sorted. So those pictures will be going on the website, and I will be giving you options down. I always pre-draft to get a finer yarn. Do you know, I'm reading that again. I'm going to get these photographed later on today, tomorrow. And then I'll get them hidden on the website, ready for release on, I'll give myself Monday, because I've got 2 kilo cones of yarn, the 4-ply yarn for the hand-dyed version, that I've got to literally skein up skein up into bits and then have them ready for me to dye them up in the orders. And I'm positive, and I will give you the instructions, I can actually set the listings for colour options, so I'll let you know which one it is you want to choose for each roving. So like the bamboo merino blend will have its own listing on the a walk around the Loch listings, which is at the top of the pages. And then you'll have the merino Tussah silk blend option, and then you just have to choose which colour option you want. So I'll probably write it down as purple and then blue. Can you get the summer heather yarn set? No, I wasn't going down. We were going to do this one, which is the original one that she did it in, and then these colours are going to be the option for the other hand dyed yarns. That's not to say later on down the line, Victoria, once I've got rid of all of Sandra's patterns and these sets from the website, that you can't reach out to Sandra and then maybe message me and I can do a custom order for you and dye those up. But at this moment we're sticking with 2 colours for each so that I can still carry on with the business side of things. Otherwise, if I get inundated with orders, it'll end up being too many colours going on for me to concentrate properly, because that'll still be 4 lots of colourways that I've got to sort out, if you get me drift. But that's not to say that I can't do a hand dyed order yet, order for you, a custom order, once I've got all these out the way and off the website, if that's all right. It just makes it easy for me, because that is 4 lots of colourways that I will be doing. Plus the wools, because they're 50-gram balls of wool as well as 100 grams, I have to wind up 100-gram skeins of wool from the cones, and then I have to wind up 50-gram skeins from the cones, and then dye them, and then get them posted out. I am playing, if somebody wants it, so I wind up the ball for you, let me know. I can wind that from skein to ball, if it makes your life a little bit easier. You haven't got the devices at home to do it. Otherwise, they'll be getting flat packed and sent out the way they are in the skeins once they're dried. I've just got to get the turnaround so they're done within a week, because you guys know what I'm like. If I get a custom order, I will literally drop everything and get the custom order done that day or the next day, so it's posted out within probably 72 hours, because I get it dyed, I get it dried, I get it packed up and then out. So I usually, if I get an order in for a custom order on a Monday, it's usually packed and ready and posted on the Thursday, unless I've had to order stock in, which thingy. But yeah, so no, to make my life a bit easier, it's just 4 colourways, 2 colourways being arranged for the hand dyed yarn, and 2 colourways being arranged for the rovings. But as I say, if you want a custom order, once this is all out the way, then I will arrange that and sort that out with you at another date. Anybody got any questions? Have I frazzled your heads? Yeah, don't worry, I'll frazzle it even more next week. Next week, I've got to warp up an inkle loom. Step by step, baby steps. Baby steps. We'll get the lashes on them and the little headle bits on them and measure them out and everything else. So I'll be doing that, hopefully film that over the weekend, if not Friday. Yeah, maybe Friday, maybe tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see what the weather's going to be like. But yeah, so that's what I've got planned for next week. Patreon, if you go over to there, there's a new Dye Pot Thursday video up, and the Q&A is up there for May. So I'll throw it up there now. Any questions, anything like that, you can go over and pop them down while they're in your head, and then if somebody puts multiple questions down, I'll pick 1 or 2 subjects from each of those that I haven't answered before. I think that's about it now, so I will let you all go bugger off, get on with the rest of your day. I'm going to go and get some knitting done. Yeah, I'm going to go get some knitting done, and then it's a fry up for tea tonight. Oh, yum yum. Phil will be happy because it's fried bread for him. Yeah, thank you very much for being here, everybody. Take care of yourselves, and I will catch you for another live chat in a fortnight's time, and watch out for the new video being released next week on beginning on your inkle loom. Take care for now. Thank you for being here, and see you soon. See you, Sandra. Bye, Bridie.